Well, what is up, everybody? Again, third video of the day, but this is covering the Wednesday 5-game EPL DFS slate on Draftkings. And God, I cannot remember a 5-game EPL slate this season. I think this might be the first. So let's enjoy it. We get 3 total classic slates, which I think for most like diehard DFS soccer players, you love classic slates. Just more fun to build, in my opinion. Like more strategic lineups than Showdown. Showdown has its own strategy, but I'm really looking forward to this. You know, the only thing I will say as I'm like, all right, I'm really looking forward to having 5 games. I think construction is dang hard. You're going to have to make some decisions. You're going to at least have one guy that you really want. And if it was like today's slate, you'd be able to fit all of them and then still have stuff left over. This one is much, much harder price, much more tighter. Don't even know if that made sense, but going to do my best to go through and hopefully give you guys what I think are the, top spots and maybe, who we need to build around. So just a quick reminder, bottom right of the screen is the subscribe button. Really would appreciate if you could subscribe. If you haven't already, button is right there. Just go ahead and click it. And if you are a subscriber, first off, thank you for coming back. Hit that like or comment. We're getting this out the night before, so I should have plenty of time to answer as many questions as I can. And shoot, there might be some because this is a tough one. All right, let's start with the odds like normal and kind of get into the place. So keep in mind, we have I'm going to go on Eastern time. So we have a 1 o'clock time, 2 kickoffs. We have 2:30, which means we're not going to have those lineups before the first 2 games lock. And then we have, 3:15 after that. So trying to think. I should have looked at this. Yeah, there'll be a 15-minute window that you're going to have where you're going to get lineups for Man U, Everton, Lester, and you won't have Brighton and Fulham locked, which is going to be actually pretty important, especially at the forward position. So, I'll get to that. But let's just go over the odds. So you got Brighton, a slight favorite at home, plus 112, Fulham plus 284. I really like Brighton in that game. I think Fulham is just gassed at this point. They have a short squad. They got really, really screwed over by that Tottenham game, having to get that squeezed in. So I do like Brighton quite a bit here. Only a 2.25 total. That was the middle game, the 2:30. Let's go back to the start. So Burnley is at home, a dog, plus 304 to minus 101. Aston Villa, really like Villa there, 2.5 total. Burnley's just getting some guys back, but short squad, all this fixture congestion is not good for them. The other 1 o'clock game is Chelsea versus Wolves. I think this one's really be careful. Obviously Lampard is gone. Tuchel is there, but has only been there for a day. So, I have no idea what he's going to do with the roster shakeups. Could the set situation change? It's been Mount and Ziyech, but, does Mount get dropped? Does Ziyech get dropped? We don't know. It's really good that we get the game at 1 because there's so many unknowns there. Then the 3 o'clock games, Manchester United is the Slate's biggest favorite, minus 361 at home to the abysmal Sheffield United team, who actually does put games together, but they just cannot get results and they cannot score. I really do expect Manchester United, though, to kind of boss the ball in that game. And then the final game, Everton and Lester, the marquee game of the whole slate of the day. 2 top 4 contenders. Everton just a very, very slight home dog, plus 191, 2.5 total. So we got none over 3. So this isn't like City, right? This isn't like a City slate where all of a sudden, we've got to find the goals and, hell, I wish it was a City slate where we would have $7,700, Sterling, $7,600 Mahrez, that was fun. But here's, I guess, what I'll say. First off, the auto click of the slate is obviously Bruno Fernandes. Just awesome. He didn't start over the weekend, so he'll definitely start here. Take some sets, orchestrator of everything for the biggest favorite. That's a no-brainer. I think here's the next part. And I'm going to give you kind of just the roster build or where I'm going to start. And then I'll just kind of give you a quick overview of the games. I want to keep this under 20. So let's see how it happens. I think that the next play that you go is actually Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish not only leads the league in non-crossing floor points. Andrew Laird, if he just happens to be watching, correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I believe that is the case still with his fouls drawn, with his shot assisted, with his shots themselves. And now he's been on corners. Now that El Ghazi hasn't been starting, he's even taking some over Traore. We weren't sure when Barkley came back in if he would jump on some sets, but it's actually been Grealish. So that floor even goes up, especially versus Burnley. So those are my first two in. Where it gets hard is I think most of us want to go ahead and just click in James Maddison. So we're going to use up all the midfield spots. We're going to use a ton of our salary up for three of the highest floor guys in all the EPL. The issue with doing that is your forward gets really, really ugly. Like, let me just show you when you get here. Let's say that you wanted to take, like, United's supposed to be without Rashford. So let's say you wanted to try to take Greenwood. Now we got 3,800 left over. I actually want to show you this. Like, I really, really, really never thought I would say this, but I really want to play Luke Shaw. He's been taking most of the corners for United. Just been awesome. And if United struggles to score early, Shaw just going to be bombing forward against Sheffield. So I really want to play that, but you got 3,900 here. So you got to be creative at the forward spot. So I do wonder if by the time lock comes around, I'm actually going to be doing James Rodriguez at the forward spot. We can utilize utility a little bit more now if you don't lock in Maddison. So you're not locking in somebody super high there. You can maybe play three defenders. I'll point out a couple of defenders I think are lower price. Just trying to think down here. I've only looked at the slate for a little bit before I'm coming into this. So, I don't necessarily know the midfielder that I would necessarily want here, but it's just an idea of the construction. At the forward spot, I think that what I'm planning to do is definitely punting off the second forward position. Let me just give you a few names. So Chris Wood's only 4K. Doesn't have any sort of floor, but, it's always an aerial threat. Villa isn't like foolproof at the back line. They're much better than we expect them coming this season, but Chris Wood would be interesting. I really want to see like Percy Tau. Like that would be, I really want to see Percy Tau start. That would be amazing at 3,500. He'd just be a lock and load for me and things would be easy. It stinks that we won't have it in time, but Bobby Reed, where was he? I thought it was 36. I'm sorry, it's 3,500. Especially if you start on the right wing. I've been seeing Tete has been starting there, but Reed started the FA Cup, so I kind of think he might go back to the bench. Ruben Loftus-Cheek probably in there in the front three. So that's kind of where I'd be looking. I guess you could punt off a Sheffield guy, Brewster or Burke. One of those two would probably start up top. So it's ugly down here. I think a majority of people are going to flock to Ivan Cavallero. My biggest concern with Cavallero is with Joe Bryan in. He doesn't have a set monopoly at all. We can't even be like for sure put him on sets. We've seen Lookman take. We've seen Cavallero take. We saw Bryan take not only over the weekend, but in the previous game. So, I have my concerns with Cavallero, especially because 5,600 on the slate can go a long way, especially at the defender's position. Like I'm pretty sure at this point, if I go this construction, that I'm going to be playing a defender, but or a third defender because there's some good cheap ones. But like this is kind of what I want. I want to play Shaw, Grealish, Fernandez, and then one of James or Maddison. I think that's where I want to go. We'll see what the slate allows. I think much like today, if we see like huge value, like something comes out in the morning, and we know we're going to have a cheap fullback or something like on this slate specifically, you're going to have to take it. You need the salary that badly. So yeah, I think that's, kind of where I'm at on construction. Let me just look through, just make sure that no like set takers or there's not like a price thing. Robbie Brady would be interesting if in at 4K. But I would expect Westwood back. Hell, I don't know if you guys saw over the weekend, Dale Stevens took a corner. Like, what the hell? Dale Stevens. I didn't even know he could cross the ball. So maybe Brady, if he was in at 4K, would be interesting on this type of build with James. I'm not going to play John Matinho. I get it. I think he's 4,700. Yeah, no John Matinho. I'm not interested in this game. I know Chelsea's a decent favorite. Like if Azpilicueta is in at 4,100, that would be really interesting. Or I didn't even notice this till now. Maybe that's the solution. If Tuchel comes right in and goes, Kai, you know, I watched you in Germany. I know what you can do. I'm going to put you as a number 10. Like at 4,300, I'd be really interested in that. So that could be the case. You know, Ruben Neves, we saw Suchek 2 goals. We saw Gundogan 2 goals. You know, Ruben Neves fits that type of profile too. So maybe somebody like him. Fulham, you know, we actually have some punts down here. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, 3,200. I really don't mind whatsoever. Again, just to kind of make it work. So now all of a sudden you go like James. And look, and now you can kind of rock here. You have enough salary to make this work. You know, you're not going to be able to get like an elite forward, but pay down at defender, pay down at goalie, and you get it going. I kind of like that type of construction. Ruben Loftus-Cheek at 3,200 is, you know, a very, very viable play. You know, get me 5 or 6 DK and run away happy. All right. So that's kind of roster construction. Let me just go over just like other thoughts on the slate. So, you know, I do think that Villa should handle Burnley, especially possessionally. Villa has been really good lately. Grealish, Traore, Barkley GPP, Watkins GPP. If you see El Ghazi in, you know, I could definitely see the argument of going El Ghazi as your main spin up forward. He's just been that good when he gets the opportunity. You know, shoots a ton, it's on set pieces. So, you know, be watching for that. I'm surprised they just dropped him so quickly for how well he played. But watch that. Wolves, Chelsea, kind of just already mentioned. I think it's kind of like a wasteland of players. On the Wolves side of thing, I don't think I want anybody. The only guy I would consider is Pedro Neto, and at 7,900, I just don't think it's a slate for it. Like, I don't know if you can play 79 for Neto as a, you know, a solid dog when high misses are only 700 more. So that would be that side of things. And I'm scared to death of paying 8,500 for Mount. I can't do it on this late. Yeah, just too many unknowns with Tuchel. I think that like the fullbacks would be the best option. You know, the fullbacks you want, James and Chilwell, are too expensive, 6,300 and 5,800 for the slate. You know, play Shaw over them. But, you know, if you see Azpilicueta to start at 4,100, that's fine. And then Kai Havertz is going to be the guy I'm really going to keep my eye on. Yeah, I think that solves that game. Brighton and Fulham, I've probably spent more time on this than the other one so far, but haven't really talked about Brighton on the Brighton side of things. You know, if Gross is in without Trossard and without March, then, you know, he might actually be the best forward eligible player. Like, I would actually put him above James Rodriguez. I don't think you see that, but if you did, just know that Gross, in that my opinion, at that point is a lock. You know, just hopefully you have the space allocated. I don't know if you're going to use too much up at 1 o'clock. Let's see. So Brighton, you know, Lamptey's still out. I think Veltman, I was really hoping it was going to be like 3,700, 4,700 is probably a little bit too much. Solly March, 6,300, I actually really think is an efficient price. Depending on your build, like if you land on Solly March as your last player in at 6,300, like go for it. Like I think that's a phenomenal play. I really like Solly March as a player. Definitely being like my showdown core. If in Trossard, 6,400. If you don't see Pascal Gross, 6,400 Trossard is a very good play too. Neil Maupay, I think, is an elite GPP play on this slate. I think he might just get lost in the shuffle at 6,300, especially if Greenwood starts at 6K. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards him. I think Maupay is a great pivot. Then Joe Bryan, this other guy I would mention. I don't think Brighton's going to dominate the game by any means. 4,200, taking some sets, playing a wing back. You know, he was awful versus United. Fulham was just awful. They scored too early, and they just sat back. So 4,200 for Bryan is fine. Everton and Lester, I want to just be very careful here. I think the only 2 guys are James and Madison. I was hoping Richarlison maybe would be like 6,200 or something. No, 8,200. You can't play him. Vardy's out. You know, you might see, I don't know if you'll see Iheanacho or Iozi up top, but neither one of them was really in play here. This is just going to be like a tactical game between Ancelotti and Brendan Rodgers. So I'll just pass other than those 2 studs. And again, like, I think both their floors are phenomenal, like double-digit floors. Just really going to depend on construction. Like, if we see some surprises, like if I see El Ghazi, I think there's a really good chance I end up on him in the first game, even with Grealish. In the final game, United and Sheffield, pretty much anybody in United is in play here. Obviously, Bruno's your lock. I really want Luke Shaw just with this huge corner responsibility. And just like look at, I know I like try to stay away from logs, even though I'm like on the screen share, but just like look at these Luke Shaw logs. No goals or assists, 12.8, 13, 13, 8, 6. Like he's been awesome. Luke Shaw, 2021. Good for him. Yeah, so at 5,600, like biggest favorite. I just really like the play. Cavani, I'm fine with. Like, I think most of the United forwards outside of Greenwood are mostly GPP. Just that extra 1,000 up to Martial is tough to find. Pogba, 6,000 elite GPP play because he's not going to fall into constructions, I don't think, outside of stacks. Worth noting, if you're building your lineups, build with Alex Telles. As much as I've been like talking about Luke Shaw, build with Alex Telles just in case it's Telles and not Shaw. You have that extra 100, and if Shaw's in, you can easily swap the two. Just one other play I just want to point out down here is where is he? 3,400. Edna Stevens probably sticks out to me as one of my favorite low price wingbacks. Playing left wingbacks, going to cross a decent amount. I think there's a good chance that Sheffield will still get opportunities here. 3,400 for a wingback. I'm down with that. Yeah, I think that's the slate. Goalie, I don't like to spend too much time on this. Go all the way to the bottom. I don't really want Ramsdale. I don't think Ramsdale is very good. But Patricio is interesting considering Chelsea is just now getting together. If you think of getting a new manager bounce, don't do it. Go find the money for Pope. I think that's probably what I'll end up doing. Good chance that Villa gets a good amount of shots. So even though I like the Villa players, especially if you see El Ghazi in, that's a great way. He's going to shoot a ton. Doesn't shoot that accurately. So, you get 4 points for every shot on goal if you play him with Pope. So just remember, like with goal, you like stop being so worried about clean sheets. So like the guy that fits your lineup, that makes things easiest, that might get some activity, go for it. And yeah, that's goalie. All right, that'll do it. Hope that this helped. I know this was tough. The one earlier today was just easy in comparison, but should be interesting. Just pay attention to lineups. If you're in our Discord, obviously pay attention to Discord. Both Tendril Storm and myself will be there coaching you guys up and trying to get you on the best place. So thank you all for watching once again. And if you're still around, you haven't hit the subscribe button, what are you thinking? Do it now. We really appreciate it. Once again, Keith, a.k.a. Gator Guy 231. And with that, I'll say see you.